We're going to move on to myself, actually. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to talk to you about professional audiences online and talk to you a little bit about LinkedIn. And so on LinkedIn, as you know, we are now the largest professional network and leading professional network in the world. And at LinkedIn, everything starts with our members. And it's about members connecting with each other and building a network of connections. And so what you're seeing on this screen is actually something that you've all received when you came in at reception. It's what we call an in-map. It's actually a map of my social connection on LinkedIn. It's a visual depiction of my professional network with colored clusters. And so, for example, if you look at the right-hand side, in red and gray, these are connections that I built when I first joined LinkedIn Network at the end of 2003. And at the time, I was still working in France in the banking industry for a bank and doing digital marketing. And then later, at the end of 2004, I decided to move to Hong Kong, where I started first an agency, a business, and then a couple of years later, joined a business publisher. And this is really the network you're seeing at the very top in blue and green. And it goes on like that with each and every pieces, clusters, and color schemes that you're seeing representing a place, a company, an industry that I've been doing business on and visualizing this. What is really interesting here is despite the number of industries and geographies that I actually have been working on, you can see that this network is actually quite interconnected. And each of these networks actually act as individual, each of these nodes act as individual network outside my network. Which means that my first degree of connection, as you can see here, I'm connected to 2,018 people. At a second degree, that connects me to 800,000 professionals around the world. And then 15 million at my third degree. That's really important because everything you do on a network like LinkedIn is actually benefiting from this amplification. So every time I engage with a brand and every time I share something, I react to a status update I receive from a company I follow, actually this is shared potentially in the stream of these 15 million people. The other thing that is important is each of these networks are actually individual to you. They are individual to our 175 million members. And they're all very different. What that means is, and they're growing at the moment at a rate of 2 new members per second. So every second, there's 2 more of us connected on the platform. This is happening in 19 languages around the world. So what's important here is not just scale. It's quality at scale. And so I think the real message for me here is our audience is actually the most educated, affluent, and influential of the consumer web. And that's the people you want to talk to. Now let's talk about our mission as a company. As a company, we want to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And the really important word here is professionals because it drives everything we do. What we do is helping a small business in India that is looking for a supplier or a distribution point to actually find the right person to do business with. What we do is helping a growing business in Australia that's looking for distribution outside of this market to find the right partners and the right customers around the world. What we do as well is definitely helping some people to find their dream jobs and company to actually find their dream candidate. And so this is everything rotating around professionals. Now, beyond our vision, we have a vision as a company. And this is actually what makes me wake up every morning. Because I believe we are in a company that actually can change the life of a lot of people around the world. And I'll come back to the numbers right after that. And this is about creating economic opportunities for every single workers globally in the world. Everyone. Everyone can see their life impacted through a new opportunity, through a new business by being on LinkedIn. So what does it say in numbers? I mentioned already we have 175 million members around the world. 62% of those members are actually outside the United States, so it is a true global network. 30 million of those are in Asia. In this market, we are way north of 3 million members, which means 65% of the professional population in Australia. And this is great. We're very proud of the achievement. We've come a long way. I was saying, after a year or so, we had 4 million people. 175 million is great. What's the opportunity? Well, by some measure, there are 640 million professionals around the world. And our goal is to connect each and every one of them and make them more productive and successful in their job. Now, you would imagine that to do that, Asia Pacific is going to play a very important role in the growth of our network in the years to come. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing business now in 9 cities around Asia. Now, if you think about the dream and the stretch goal, and which is really about providing economic opportunities for the worldwide workforce, that is 3.3 billion lives that we would be able to impact down the road. And we're far from that. But this is what makes us wake up in the morning. This is why and what we're working against at the moment. Now, how do we bring this mission and vision to life at LinkedIn? It really starts with our core value to our members, our core value to you and to the people you're doing business with. And this is really articulated around three pillars: identity, insights, and everywhere. Let me double click on those. Identity is really this notion of enabling our members to find, to connect, find, and get found. And so really, it is about enabling each and every one of you to have a visibility on the web. You know that you're going to be searched on social networking and on search engines. You know that your profile is going to pop up. And really, it's really about giving you an opportunity to show your best profile from a professional angle. Once we have this notion of identity in place, and we start knowing more about our members, and we start understanding more about your career, your aspirations, your skills, and what you've been doing, then this notion of insight is coming naturally to place. And insights is really about providing business intelligence to each and every of our members in a way that nowhere else you can get it. And it's not just about providing people with their dream job. It's really more about getting you better at what you do, giving you the tools, the business tools, so that you're better at the job you're doing every day. And then comes this notion of everywhere. And everywhere is really about the fact that we want to work where our members are. We don't want you to have to be tethered in front of your computer to actually have to extract value from LinkedIn. So a very good illustration of that is obviously our mobile offering. Our mobile product is our fastest growing consumer product at LinkedIn. We have now over 22% of the traffic on the platform globally that actually is coming through mobile. This is a 4x growth year on year. And actually, if you look at the numbers for Asia, which of course I do, it's actually an 8x growth. So there's no doubt in everybody's mind in this room that in this part of the world, mobile is going to play an even more important role. Now, let's spend a bit more time on insight and really try to look at where you can derive insight from on the LinkedIn platform. The first place you're going to be able to derive insight from is actually the homepage. And the LinkedIn homepage is a very particular homepage in the sense that we actually have a 175 million homepage. Your homepage is different than mine. The homepage at LinkedIn is your professional dashboard. This is the place where you're going to know how people you're connected with are connecting with each other. This is the place where you're going to see how people in your network have been promoted or have changed jobs. This is the place where you're going to see the stories, the articles, and the news that the people you're working with have been sharing. So truly something that's going to tell you and give you the pulse of your business. The second place where you're going to find amazing insight is groups. Groups are a place for thought leadership. This is where experts talk with other experts. This is where experts actually bring groups of people to exchange further and share their expertise. And so very deep and specific expertise is delivered through our groups. And this is an amazing source of insight. We now have over 1 million groups on LinkedIn, and there's actually 3,500 groups that are created pretty much every day. And the third one is LinkedIn Today. And so I don't know how much you know about LinkedIn Today, but LinkedIn Today is actually this amazing publishers ecosystem where we now have 1 million unique domains from around the web that have implemented this little in-share button on their website. What that means is that all our members, our 175 million members, when they browse the web, have the opportunity in one click to actually share a piece of news, insight, information, or a blog post onto their LinkedIn profile and share it with their professional network. With all this data and information flowing through our system, we're able to build LinkedIn today. And we have a team of editors in New York and in other places that is actually building for you a personalized trade publication. So what LinkedIn today is going to do for you is, based on your industry, it's going to basically stream through the news that are coming through the system and present in front of you what is relevant to you and what people from your industry are reading. But also going one step deeper and looking at what your connections, what your coworkers are actually reading and sharing and commenting. And so that's a socially influenced piece of news that's put together so that you get sure when you start your day in the morning, you know what you need to know and you know what the people in your industry know, and you are well equipped to start your business day. Now going back to mobile for a minute, and I like this slide a lot because it really demonstrates one thing. One thing we really try to do at LinkedIn is, and our product team, and obviously Alan will talk through that in much more depth, but is really trying to adapt the experience we're delivering on the different platforms to what people do on those platforms. It's not just about transporting the whole of LinkedIn onto a tablet or the whole of LinkedIn onto a smartphone. We're looking at data. We have a lot of data, and we're looking at how people are using it. And based on that, we're developing an experience that actually relates to how people do use those devices at a certain time of the day. And so this is a graph that shows how people are using LinkedIn across. And you see the green line represent LinkedIn.com and desktop usage. So you see that people get on LinkedIn early in the morning. They check their connections, who's connected with them, what's happening, check their LinkedIn today. And then they keep using it along the day as they are sitting at their desk. And it fades away at the end of the day. If you look at the iPad experience, then you'll see a really strong peak in the morning as well when people are probably checking their iPad, at least that's what I do, while they're getting their breakfast, and checking again on their business dashboard on the iPad. And then it slows down during the day. And at the end of the day, when they get home, get on the couch with their wife, it's easier not to get smacked on the end to actually do it with an iPad than having a laptop open, at least with my wife. And they get back to their network, and they probably consume a lot more news, so we look at what they're looking to. So to give you a better sense of that, I'm going to show you a very quick video of our iPad experience so that you can see how it differs from our desktop and our mobile experience. And so what I do, and I'm really taking for myself, one amazing thing we've done is this calendar integration. So we're taking your smartphone calendar and we're mapping out. So I've got a lot of people personally that are putting meetings for me. And so first thing I do in the morning, I check my meetings. And I look through LinkedIn, who are the people that I'm going to be meeting? And I put them in context. I go to their profile, and I understand who they are, if we have common connections, if they work in company that I worked in. The second thing I do is what you're seeing here is news. I'm going to my LinkedIn today, and I'm checking the news that the people in my industry are reading, my coworkers are reading, and I'm really looking into this. Then I go back to my dashboard and look at what the people I do business with are doing. And so this is an example of an ad age group that I'm part of, and on which I posted, for example, that I was going to attend the advertising festival in Cannes. And I got reaction from people that right away said, oh, I'm going to be there now. And I was able to shape up my day and prepare my trip and know who was going to be there and tell people that I was going to be there. So really influenced the way I was doing things. So this entire experience that you see here has been developed for this particular device. So the last thing I wanted to do was to talk a little bit about marketing solutions, because in the coming presentations, you're going to hear a lot about brands and companies that actually have used LinkedIn marketing solutions in a pretty holistic way and on a platform way. And so I wanted to show you what I think are the 4 pillars of what we do and how we approach it, so that you get a sense and you can put things in place when you're seeing the experience of particular brands in this market and other markets. What we do at Marketing Solutions is really articulated around 4 things: data, media, integration, and social. Media is really, if you're digital marketers, about ad units that you know already and that are delivered on a display mode. Regular ads, 300 by 250, but also poll and content ads that are much more social ads that are creating engagement. Actual social ads that are driving followership and driving people to join groups on LinkedIn. Now, data comes into play and has got a lot of overlap with whatever we do on media, because our data actually allow us to do a number of things. It allows us to do targeting in a way that nobody else can do, by industry, by company size, by geography, et cetera, by center of interest based on the group that you're following. So really being able to target and put the right audience in front of the right message. But our data goes beyond that, and you'll hear a lot about our research and insight team and Brian Thome later about data-driven marketing. We have a lot of insight. We know a lot about the people that are in those groups, which really allow to basically provide marketers with research and analytics. And they know very, very much in depth what they're doing on the platform and what kind of audience they're attracting. The research bit actually allows us, with 175 million people and on a huge panel, to make sure that as marketers, you're actually able to look at metrics that go beyond what you're doing usually in digital media. So we're going to be looking at click-through, at engagement, but we're also going to look at net promoter scores, brand equity, and how your brand and the perception on your brand, on control groups on the platform, are going to be evolving over the time of the strategy that you're going to have on LinkedIn. One thing that you're going to see and hear a lot about is always-on strategy. And I personally believe that one of the transformation that we're bringing in, and one of the way marketers should think more about LinkedIn and start to think more about LinkedIn, is this always-on component. There's a need for you to have a constant presence to engage that audience for all the reasons that Brian and Shu have been mentioning, and to be able to fit in your tactical campaigns on a second round. Now, social is about company pages, groups. It's what we call our followers ecosystem, and this is this very unique opportunity of creating an opt-in relationship between a brand and its target group, and the people that are on network that are relevant to them. And these people are going to allow your brands to actually enter into a conversation with them. And this opt-in element and this long-term element is really what makes it so powerful. The last piece is about integration, and this is really part of this everywhere value that I talked about, and our ability to actually transport some of LinkedIn onto third-party websites. And so if you are developing a conversation or a group on LinkedIn and you're creating amazing user-generated content, why wouldn't you want some of this content to actually go back to your website? Why wouldn't you want people that are actually coming to your homepage to also see that? Why wouldn't you want to bridge those two worlds? And so that's what APIs and integrations are doing. You could also use APIs that are using LinkedIn's credential, and that in a recommendation engine mode could leverage the connections of the people that are connecting to your website to actually have them recommend some of your product. And that can happen on your website. And this is happening through our integration bit. So as the day unfolds, you'll hear more about companies that have done a lot of these things and that have leveraged either all or some of those pillars. So please remember data, media, social, and integration. Thank you very much.